I have been making a minifigure scaled Smaug from the Hobbit, and in the last couple of videos I finished building his head and his neck. But now it's time to focus on what will be the tallest part of this build, Smaug's wings. Now let's get to it. To start things off, I want to make his hands. Now Smaug has 6 fingers, but 3 of them are not attached to his wings, and those are the ones I'm making now, which will be his middle finger, his pointer finger, and his thumb. After that's done, we can move on to the palm of his hands. The first thing I want to do is to put down all the attachments for his fingers to go to, and that includes the 3 fingers I have yet to make that will go to his wings. One of the things I noticed when I was building this is that his palm is almost the same size as mine. Okay, after I got the base of the hand built and shaped, I need to put the scales on it, and I wanted to make it look like the scales were running down the tendons that go to his fingers. With that done, the fingers can be attached. I used all ball joints for his fingers so I could have some really dynamic posing with his hands. Now I can move on to his arms. I chose to make the base structure almost entirely Technic. The reason being is that the arms need to hold the entire weight of the wings, and they need to handle any flexing that might happen in the structure. Now that I have a strong base built for the arms, I can cover the whole thing in bracket plates for stud connection points. Then on the sides, I sandwiched 4 lift arms in the structure to use for anchor points to the wings. Now it can be covered in plates that I can build the exterior of the arms onto. I used a variety of bowed plates and bricks for the shaping of his arms. Then I used rounded tiles of varying sizes for his scales on the top side of his arm, just like I did on his hands, with the scales getting gradually larger the further up his forearm. One thing I had to keep in mind when making Smaug's arms is that they're very long and skinny, and his forearm and bicep muscles are very stretched out compared to that of a human's, and are much more comparable to that of a bat's. And with his arm complete, we can attach his hand. Now that both are done, you can see with me for reference just how big his hand is and just how long his arms are. Next, I need to make the webbing between his arms. I decided to use fabric for this because I'll also be using fabric for his wings, and these are basically part of his wings. After I have the pattern cut out, I can start attaching it to his arm. For this, I just took studs that were close to the same color as the fabric, and I was able to attach them through the fabric since it wasn't too thick, and this worked pretty well. With this all done, we can finally move on to his actual wings. For the base of his wing fingers, I used almost entirely 1x16 Technic bricks, interlocking them to the sides with pins. And at some of the joints, I used ratchet lift arms so I can give the wings a more natural look when posed. For the exterior plating of the wing fingers, I chose dark brown for the base color to give a little better transition between his dark red webbing and his fingers. Then for the scales, I used the same black rounded tiles that I used both on his hands and his arms to finish it up. But after this is done, I'm going to need a bigger space to work with. So with both tables set up, I can begin working on the wings. The first thing I need to do is to figure out what position I want the wing fingers in. Then I can pin the cloth along the edges so that it holds its shape. And after that, I can go to town on putting the whole thing together. To attach the cloth to the fingers, I had to take a different approach than what I did with the arms. To make a connection, I had to make a hole in the fabric to attach it to the sides of the Technic bricks that the fingers were made of. After the hole was made, I could attach a Technic half pin with a square stud on the end of it to hold the fabric in place. With it all pinned together, I can cut out the basic shape of the wing. And then I can start attaching it to the arm. To do this, I made incisions into the fabric where I could then remove one layer of the Technic bricks from the wings, then pin the lift arms onto the wings and place the Technic bricks back over them, therefore sandwiching them together so that the only way it could come apart is if the pins actually broke. And for the back 2 wing fingers, I used angled lift arms so that the wings wouldn't just go straight out and have a more natural curved shape to it. And now that the wings are completely attached to the arms, there's something I need to show you that I've been working on. This is Smaug's torso. Well, at least the core of it. It looks pretty basic from the outside, but on the inside I have lift arms interlocking it up and down the whole length of his body, with a handle in the middle for easy transport. Then, on the sides, I have connection points for both of his arms, and on the front I have an easy place to slot in his neck, and a place on the back to connect his tail. I chose to make it this way because everything needs to come apart easily for transport to shows. To finish the wings, I want to attach it to the torso. And with these weights, I'll get a general idea of the position I want him to be in as well. Don't worry, these weights will get replaced in the future. To finish the top of his wings, he needs these long spikes sticking out of them. And for the end of these spikes, I'll use a helicopter blade piece to give it a sharp, pointy look. Then I need to make 4 more of them. And with that, I can begin making the final touches on the wings. Then Smaug's last 3 fingers can be made and attached to his hands and his wings. After that, the fabric can be cut out around his fingers to make the webbing. Now it's time to assemble everything and see how it looks. Here it is. He's getting huge. There is one thing to keep in mind though when I say he's minifigure scaled. He is specifically scaled to Bilbo's height, since Bilbo is so small and the short legs on a minifigure is not enough for the height difference. If a minifigure was 6 foot tall, that would make a short-legged figure 5'4", and since Hobbits average 3'6", this was a big difference, which means that Smaug's size will have gone from around 10 feet long to normal scaled to around 14 to 15 feet long from head to tail to scale with Bilbo. I put this importance on being scaled to Bilbo because Smaug isn't going to be displayed by himself. He is going to be in his treasure hoard in Erebor. Alright, that's it for this video. Please like and subscribe, and keep an eye out for upcoming posts about what you would like to see in his treasure hoard. And of course, more upcoming videos of building Smaug. Have a good one, and I'll see you then.